Good morning. This is Derek Dodge with Interstate Roofing, conducting a repair attempt at the Denham residence. This is the 4th of December 2024. We're on the left-facing slope at 3006 St. James Place in Grovetown, Georgia. Like I said, it's the Denham residence. So what we're going to do is we are trying to determine whether or not this 16-year-old roof is repairable. We had, I believe it was 35 acknowledged wind damage shingles by State Farm as a byproduct of Hurricane Helene. We've got the wind damage shingle. Let me get out of the wind damage shingle is denoted by the X. I've got the shingle course identified with the chalk marks. Also of a very important note, we see that there is currently no damage in the shingles above and the two adjacent to the repair. So what I have to do in the repair is break the adhesive tar strips, remove the nails from the damaged shingle, take that out, replace it with a like and kind quality shingle, fasten that back down to the roof, and then inspect to see if consequential damage has happened as a result of the repair. I'm going to be using a flat pry bar to break the tar strips and remove the nails, and I'm going to be using a mag hatch to secure it down. Let me see the mag hatch, thank you. I'm going to be using this instead of a snake. I know that State Farm likes to tell people that they have to use a snake. I know that you don't get to tell me what tools I use. I don't want to start this meeting off, or this video off, with an attitude. It's just a snake. That's just something that DIYers use. Roofers do not use snakes. Roofers use magnetic hatchets. Now, that being said, I want to establish some baselines so that you know that even though I'm using a tool that you don't want me to use, that I can still perform this repair effectively and in good faith. So this is a speed square. We use this in all sorts of applications in construction. What I'm going to be using this for is to set a baseline on what 45 degrees is. A lot of times when we're watching videos or adjusters are looking at our repairs, they're stating that we're lifting the shingles overtly and causing manipulation in the shingles. I do not need to lift the shingles above a 45 to perform this repair, as you'll see. But what I want to do is I want to establish. So this is the pivot point. This is where I'm going to put the base. And right here, right in the center, is 45. So if we go all the way up, this is a wind damage shingle, so we don't have to worry about that. All the way up, this is a 90-degree angle. So if I lift the shingle to a 90-degree angle, you can feel free to tell me that I did the repair incorrectly. But I'm not going to be. This is a 45. This is halfway through. Let me go to the side so you can see that it's at 45. It's right in the center. I do not need to lift the shingles more than this at all to perform this repair. Let me go ahead and get to where I will be in the repair so that you can take this as an opportunity to screenshot this if you're watching this on a phone or on a computer, so that you can see exactly what 45 looks like. I'll do this again once I put the new shingle in so that you can have another opportunity to screenshot. So you're not just taking my word for it, but you've got the evidence to back it up. So now that I've explained everything that I'm going to do, let's just go ahead and do it. So we don't have to worry about this tar strip being broken. It already is. So now we're going to break these, and we're going to break the two adjacent and the courses above. It is 10:30 right now. It's about 42 degrees. So we are within the temperature for Owens Corning's required, over any shingle manufacturer's required temperature to install shingles. You can't install them in sub 40 degree weather. So it's 42 right now. The sun is shining. This roof is hotter than 40 degrees. So we're good to go. One thing that some of these roofers do, because when you're installing a new roof, you're going up. So sometimes these roofers, when they're shooting their gun, they shoot the nail way too high. You're supposed to do it like basically right at about the tar strip. I can see here that we're like, the nail is buried right there. So I'm going to try to take that out later because it's buried in there. That's good. Move these gloves. I don't need these right now. See that I'm able to remove the nail without lifting the shingle more than a 45. The reason why I don't use a snake, I mean, it's not just that I'm not a DIYer, I'm a roofer. Snakes, when you're breaking the tar strips and pulling the nails out, they're like this high. So you have to lift the shingles super high. And I understand the utility, you know, it's like the nail is held here and where you strike the hammer is here. So the idea is you don't have to lift the shingles, so you're not causing more damage. But when a roof's age and condition, it's so brittle, you're just causing damage lower. right? If I use a mag hatch, the damage will manifest up here. If I'm using a snake, it's going to manifest lower. You're going to cause blistering and impacts and bruising on the shingles. The matting will fracture anyway. So you're just trading damage for damage. So that's really the reason why I don't use it. I can do this repair much faster. I don't have to hit the nails nearly as hard or nearly as many times. I can set it and usually get it into the decking with 2 to 3 hits at most. With a roofer snake, you definitely need to hit it more than that. So that's kind of the logic behind that. See, we're just gingerly lifting the nails out. So I've got a nail buried in here, but I think I can still pull, yeah, I can still pull this out. Now I do want to get that nail. So let me see if I can get it. I see it right there. It's actually above the other shingle. Yeah, there we go. I was able to get it. So basically, if you can see in the video, this is where this shingle ends. So the nail was right here. That's pretty high. So if I wasn't trying to not lift above a 45, I'd have to lift this pretty high to get to that, but we were able to do it regardless. So we're taking the nail out. I'm gonna have a photo report to match. So I need to have a picture, overviews and close-ups of the repair being done. Let me get my like and kind quality shingle. Thank you, Bryant. So this is a three tab, 25-year organic composition shingle. Pretty close to a color match. It's hard to perfectly color match because this is a 16-year-old roof, but so I've got that done. Okay, let's do that one more time. Give you guys an opportunity to see what 45 degrees is. This is a brand new shingle, so it's going to be very pliable. So we don't have to worry that if we lift the shingle to a 45 degree angle that we're going to be worried about creasing or granule loss. So that's 45. Get into the hammering position because that does change kind of the perception of it. So that view right there, that's a 45. So I don't need to lift this higher than that. Okay. They got a saying, don't trust a roofer that wears gloves. So I'm gonna not wear gloves so you guys can trust me. There you go. It's 1, 2, 3. I don't know how many videos you guys have watched as an adjuster, but I'm sure when you see somebody with a roofer snake, it's taken a couple more than 3 to set it and nail it in. So 1 to set, usually 2 to finish. Sometimes it does take me longer, you know. But you're able to see that I'm able to set these pretty quickly and hammer them. And what I like about the mag hatch too is kind of the way that you have to use it. It forces you to match the pitch. So you're not burying these nails. Oh, that's not going to be a good one. That one's a little bent. Sometimes when you remove the nails too, the nails bend. So I don't want to put a bad nail back in their roof. That was right on a stud. I could feel that. Bryant, you got a couple nails? If not, I could use P-cap nails, but I prefer to use regular nails. No? All right, I'm just gonna use a P-cap nail. It doesn't matter. Okay. This is why you don't want to use a P-cap nail, but... more. Okay. One more. Oh, that's not good. Okay. So now that we're done installing, let me make sure this is still recording. Yep, we're still recording. Okay. Overviews and close-ups of the new shingle. You can see the beginnings of creasing, which is obviously consequential damage. You remember when I said earlier, don't trust a roofer with gloves? Well, now you're just gonna have to trust me. So you can see pretty clearly, pretty visibly in a couple of these shingles that there's the beginnings of a crease. So I've heard adjusters say if you lift any shingle above a 45-degree angle, you're gonna get creasing and granule loss. That isn't the case. With new shingles, the matting is very pliable, so the fiberglass is the bones, the asphalt is the waterproof, and the granules are the aggregate from the UV rays of the sun. So let's lift this brand new shingle up to a 45-degree. And one thing that I look for in a repair to see if the shingles are still good is the pliability and the tension in the shingle. So you see how slowly that's coming down? There's a lot of tension in this shingle. So 45 degrees. So if the matting was fractured, it would cause a crease. This is why, like, you know, it's telltale sign of wind damage when there's a crease. So when I wipe my hands across the top, if there was fracturing and granule loss, it would be a byproduct of creasing, but we don't have that. So let's lift this a little bit higher. Let's lift this to like a 65-degree angle. That's 65. So we still watch it go down very slowly. Obviously, we can assume that the granules have not, or the creasing has not happened, but let's test. Let's not just assume. We wipe our hands across the top and we see absolutely no granule loss. Let's do the ever elusive 90-degree lift. We still see how much tension. This is the same shingle I've lifted now quite a few times, and we can see that there's absolutely no granule loss whatsoever. So the idea that if you lift any shingle above a 45, you'll have creasing and granule loss is just, it's just false, patently false. So when I see here, I see creasing forming. The first thing I want to do is check the tension in the shingle. So this feels like a sticky note flapping in the wind. So that is a symptom of matting that's fractured because there's no tension. You just drop it down and it just, we wipe our hands across the top, and I'm not creating the crease. The crease was already there. I am just exposing the matting that has been fractured. I'm exposing what the true extent of the damage really is. So we can see a clear crease across the top. So the matting is fractured. So this is a fail. We look at this one, we can see the clear creasing. I look at the tension, I see that it's just like a sticky note flapping. You can see, like, as it kind of pops down, you can see some granules falling. So let's wipe our hands across to see the true extent of the damage. Like, I'm wiping it much lighter than I was here. I'm wiping it really hard here, and I'm wiping it pretty light here. You can see the true extent of the damage of the matting being fractured in this crease. This shingle, there is tension. This one feels good. Wipe my hands across the top. It's a little bit of granule loss, but I don't see any creasing. I don't see that the matting is fractured. This right here, this has less tension. Let's see. So there's a little bit of granule loss, but I don't see